In this video, we delve into the chilling case of Amy Dawson, a young woman whose transformation from an ordinary girl to a mass murderer sent shockwaves through the small town of Maple Hills. Initially perceived as a typical member of her community, Amy's descent into darkness raises profound questions about the complexities of human nature and the factors that can drive an individual to commit unspeakable acts. As we explore the details of her case, we aim to provide an informative yet thought-provoking narrative that examines not only the shocking nature of her crimes, but also the psychological implications behind them. What could have led someone who once seemed so normal to unleash such terror? This exploration invites viewers to reflect on the thin line between sanity and madness, and how societal pressures, personal struggles, and hidden traumas can shape a person's actions in unimaginable ways. The impact of Amy's actions reverberated throughout Maple Hills, leaving a community grappling with fear, confusion, and a desperate search for answers. As we unpack the events that unfolded, we encourage you to consider the broader implications of her story, prompting a deeper understanding of the human psyche and the potential for darkness that exists within us all. Join us as we navigate this unsettling journey, shedding light on a case that challenges our perceptions of morality, empathy, and the fragility of the human mind. The moment that changed the Dawson family's life forever arrived with a phone call that shattered their world. Karen and David Dawson were enjoying a quiet evening in their Maple Hills home, a place known for its serene landscapes and close-knit community. The tranquility of their surroundings stood in stark contrast to the horror that would soon unfold. When the police arrived at their doorstep, the couple was engulfed in an overwhelming wave of shock and disbelief. They struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation as the officers delivered the devastating news about their daughter, Amy. How could their seemingly normal, loving child be connected to such unimaginable violence? The questions raced through their minds, each one more painful than the last. The idyllic life they had built, filled with laughter and family moments, now felt like a distant memory, replaced by a nightmare they could never have anticipated. As they grappled with the reality of Amy's actions, the Dawsons found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about their daughter. How could a girl who had once brought so much joy and warmth to their lives become the center of such a tragic story? This moment marked the beginning of a harrowing journey for the family, as they sought to understand the complexities of their daughter's transformation and the chilling implications of her actions on their lives and the community they cherished. The juxtaposition of their peaceful existence with the chaos of the unfolding tragedy left them reeling, forever changed by the events that transpired. Amy Dawson's childhood in Maple Hills appeared to be the epitome of a perfect upbringing, characterized by a loving relationship with her parents, Karen and David. The family shared countless joyful moments, from weekend outings to cozy movie nights, fostering a deep bond that seemed unbreakable. In the idyllic setting of Maple Hills, with its picturesque landscapes and friendly neighbors, the community viewed Amy as a model child, bright, polite, and always eager to help. She excelled in school, participated in local events, and was often praised for her kindness, reinforcing the image of a well-adjusted girl destined for success. However, beneath this seemingly flawless exterior, subtle signs of troubling behavior began to emerge, often overlooked by her attentive parents. While Karen and David were deeply invested in their daughter's happiness, they occasionally dismissed Amy's withdrawn moments or her fascination with darker themes in books and movies as mere phases of adolescence. These small red flags, such as her reluctance to engage with friends or her tendency to isolate herself during family gatherings, went unnoticed in the hustle and bustle of their daily lives. As the community continued to celebrate Amy's achievements, her parents remained blissfully unaware of the internal struggles brewing within their daughter. This contrast between the idyllic environment and the hidden turmoil within Amy's psyche set the stage for the shocking events that would later unfold, leaving her family and the entire town grappling with the complexities of a life that seemed perfect on the surface but harbored deep-seated issues beneath. Dawson entered her teenage years, early warning signs of troubling behavior began to surface, though they often went unnoticed by her loving parents. Teachers at her school reported increasing disruptions in class, where Amy, once an eager participant, began to withdraw and act out. Her artwork, which had previously been filled with vibrant colors and joyful themes, took a darker turn, showcasing unsettling imagery that raised concerns among her educators. They noted a stark contrast in her demeanor, as the once bright and cheerful girl became more withdrawn and sullen, often lost in her thoughts. Friends who had once flocked to her side began to distance themselves, sensing a change in Amy that they couldn't quite articulate. The laughter and camaraderie that characterized her earlier years faded, replaced by an air of isolation that left her feeling increasingly alone. Despite these troubling signs, Karen and David Dawson dismissed their daughter's behavior as typical teenage angst, believing it to be a natural part of growing up. They attributed her mood swings and artistic shifts to the challenges of adolescence, failing to recognize the deeper issues at play. This misinterpretation of her struggles created a widening gap between Amy and her parents, as they remained unaware of the internal battles she was facing. The combination of her changing relationships, unsettling artwork, and the lack of parental acknowledgement set the stage for a troubling trajectory, one that would ultimately culminate in the shocking events that would forever alter the course of their lives. The tranquility of Maple Hills was shattered one fateful morning when the lifeless body of Michael Grant was discovered in a secluded area near the town's park. The news spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through the close-knit community that had always prided itself on its safety and serenity. Residents were gripped by disbelief and fear as they grappled with the reality that such violence could occur in their idyllic town. Michael, a well-liked local teenager, had been known for his friendly demeanor and active involvement in community events, making his untimely death all the more devastating. As the police launched their investigation, initial reports suggested that the crime might have been committed by an outsider, someone who had infiltrated their peaceful town. This belief provided a temporary sense of security, as residents clung to the notion that the threat was external and not rooted within their own community. However, as the investigation unfolded, the sense of safety began to erode, replaced by an undercurrent of anxiety and suspicion. The police worked tirelessly to uncover leads, but the brutality of the crime left many questions unanswered. Just as the town was beginning to process the horror of Michael's murder, a chilling realization began to dawn: this was not an isolated incident. The stage was set for subsequent murders that would further unravel the fabric of Maple Hills, plunging the community into a state of fear and uncertainty. The events surrounding Michael Grant's death marked the beginning of a dark chapter in the town's history, one that would forever change the lives of its residents. As the murders in Maple Hills continued to unfold, a shocking truth emerged about Amy Dawson, who had been living a double life as a calculating killer while maintaining the facade of a normal college student. To her family and friends, Amy appeared to be the quintessential young woman, balancing her studies, social life, and extracurricular activities with ease. She attended classes, engaged in campus events, and even volunteered in the community, all while concealing the dark reality of her actions. This chilling duality allowed her to blend seamlessly into the fabric of everyday life, leaving those closest to her unaware of the sinister impulses lurking beneath her composed exterior. As the body count rose, the tension and fear within the community escalated. Neighbors exchanged anxious glances, and whispers of suspicion filled the air as residents grappled with the horrifying possibility that the killer could be someone they knew. The once peaceful streets of Maple Hills became a breeding ground for paranoia, as families locked their doors and avoided venturing out after dark. The contrast between Amy's outward normalcy and the escalating violence created an unsettling atmosphere, where trust was eroded and friendships strained. The realization that someone so seemingly innocent could be responsible for such heinous acts sent shockwaves through the community, prompting a desperate search for answers. As the investigation deepened, the facade Amy had so carefully constructed began to crack, revealing the terrifying truth that the girl they thought they knew was, in fact, a master of deception living among them. The moment Karen and David Dawson stumbled upon Amy's journal marked a turning point in their lives, plunging them into a whirlwind of emotional turmoil. As they flipped through the pages, their hearts raced with a mix of dread and disbelief. What began as a seemingly innocent collection of thoughts and musings quickly transformed into a chilling account of Amy's dark descent into violence. The meticulous details she recorded about her murders were horrifying, revealing a level of calculation and premeditation that left her parents reeling. Each entry painted a vivid picture of her actions, from the planning stages to the aftermath, showcasing a side of their daughter they could never have imagined existed. The stark contrast between the loving girl they raised and the cold, detached killer described in the journal was a gut-wrenching realization. As they read on, the dawning horror settled in. Their daughter, whom they had believed to be a typical college student, was capable of unspeakable acts. The weight of this knowledge was suffocating, shattering the illusion of safety they had clung to for so long. Karen's heart ached with confusion and betrayal, while David felt a profound sense of helplessness as they grappled with the reality that their family had been living a lie. The journal not only exposed Amy's chilling thoughts, but also forced them to confront the unthinkable. How could the girl they loved so dearly harbor such darkness within her? This moment marked the beginning of a harrowing journey for the Dawson family, as they struggled to reconcile their memories of Amy with the horrifying truth laid bare before them. Karen and David Dawson found themselves grappling with an unimaginable internal conflict as they faced the harrowing choice of how to respond to their daughter Amy's horrific crimes. On one hand, their instinct as parents urged them to protect their child, to shield her from the consequences of her actions, no matter how heinous. The love they had for Amy was profound, and the thought of turning her in felt like a betrayal of the bond they had nurtured throughout her life. On the other hand, the weight of justice loomed heavily over them. They understood that the community deserved answers and that Amy's actions had irrevocably shattered lives. The emotional turmoil of their decision to involve law enforcement was overwhelming as they wrestled with the implications of their choice. Ultimately, they recognized that their duty to the victims and the safety of their community had to take precedence, even if it meant sacrificing their relationship with their daughter. When the police arrived to arrest Amy, the atmosphere was thick with tension and dread. Karen and David stood frozen, hearts pounding, as they watched the officers approach their home. Amy's reaction was chilling. She displayed an eerie calmness, almost as if she had been expecting this moment. The contrast between her serene demeanor and the chaos surrounding her was unsettling. As the officers took her into custody, the Dawsons felt their world collapse around them, torn between the love for their daughter and the grim reality of the situation. In that moment, they understood that their lives would never be the same, forever marked by the tragic choices they had to make. The trial of Amy Dawson became a sensational event that captivated the nation, drawing intense media scrutiny and overwhelming public interest. The courtroom atmosphere was electric, filled with a mix of anticipation and dread as spectators, journalists, and community members gathered to witness the proceedings. Cameras flashed incessantly, capturing every moment of the trial, while reporters clamored for updates, eager to share the latest developments with a captivated audience. The stark reality of the situation was palpable as the community of Maple Hills, still reeling from the shock of Amy's crimes, watched with bated breath. In this high-stakes environment, the arguments presented by both the defense and prosecution were fiercely contested. The prosecution painted a damning portrait of Amy as a cold-blooded killer, meticulously detailing her actions and the impact on the victims' families. In contrast, the defense sought to portray her as a troubled young woman, arguing that her actions stemmed from deep-seated psychological issues that warranted compassion rather than condemnation. The courtroom became a battleground for contrasting narratives, each side vying for the jury's sympathy and understanding. For Karen and David, the emotional toll of facing their daughter in court was unbearable. Each day brought new heartache as they listened to the harrowing testimonies and evidence against Amy. The sight of their once-beloved child, now at the center of such a horrific narrative, was a constant reminder of the painful reality they had to confront. Torn between their love for her and the need for justice, the Dawsons endured an agonizing journey, forever changed by the events that unfolded in that courtroom. The trial not only tested their familial bonds, but also forced them to grapple with the complexities of love, guilt, and the quest for redemption in the face of unimaginable tragedy. The outcome of Amy Dawson's trial arrived with a swift decision from the jury, who deliberated for only a few hours before reaching a verdict of guilty on multiple counts of murder. The sentencing phase followed shortly after, with the judge imposing a life sentence without the possibility of parole. For the Dawson family, the verdict was a bittersweet culmination of a harrowing journey, bringing a sense of closure yet leaving them grappling with profound grief and loss. As they sat in the courtroom, the weight of the moment pressed heavily upon them, knowing that their daughter would spend the rest of her life behind bars. During the sentencing, Amy displayed an unsettling lack of emotion, her expression unreadable as the judge pronounced the sentence. This chilling detachment struck her parents deeply, amplifying their feelings of heartbreak and confusion. Karen and David were left to confront the reality that the daughter they had raised and loved was now a convicted murderer, seemingly unrepentant for her actions. The emotional distance between them and Amy felt insurmountable as they struggled to reconcile the girl they knew with the monster she had become. The community's reaction to the verdict was mixed, with many expressing relief that justice had been served, while others grappled with lingering questions about how such a tragedy could occur in their midst. The sense of safety that once defined Maple Hills had been irrevocably shattered, leaving residents to ponder the complexities of human nature and the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. As the dust settled, the Dawson family faced an uncertain future, forever marked by the impact of Amy's actions and the haunting questions that would linger long after the trial concluded. In the aftermath of Amy Dawson's trial, Karen and David faced an emotional landscape fraught with pain and confusion. The conviction of their daughter had brought a sense of closure, yet it also opened the floodgates to a torrent of grief and guilt. They struggled to comprehend how the girl they had raised could commit such horrific acts, and the weight of their loss was compounded by the societal stigma attached to their family name. Each day was a reminder of the life they once had, now overshadowed by the tragedy that had unfolded. The couple found themselves grappling with feelings of isolation, as friends and neighbors struggled to navigate their own discomfort around the Dawsons, leading to a gradual distancing that deepened their sense of loneliness. The community of Maple Hills also underwent a profound transformation in the wake of the trial. Once a haven of safety and trust, the town's perception shifted dramatically as residents grappled with the reality that a murderer had lived among them. Local families became increasingly wary, fostering an atmosphere of suspicion and fear that permeated everyday life. Parents began to monitor their children more closely, and social gatherings became tinged with anxiety as the shadow of Amy's actions loomed large. In an effort to cope with the trauma, Karen and David began to consider moving away from Maple Hills. The idea of starting anew in a different place offered a glimmer of hope, a chance to escape the painful reminders of their past. Yet, the decision weighed heavily on them as they grappled with leaving behind the community that had once been their home. Ultimately, the aftermath of the trial left the Dawson family and the town forever changed, navigating the complexities of healing in the wake of unimaginable tragedy. The psychological implications of Amy Dawson's actions reverberated deeply within her family and the broader community, prompting extensive analysis from mental health professionals. Psychologists offered insights into Amy's behavior, suggesting that her transformation from a seemingly normal girl to a mass murderer could be attributed to a complex interplay of factors, including potential genetic predispositions and environmental influences. This led to ongoing debates about the nature versus nurture dichotomy, with some experts arguing that Amy's upbringing in a loving home could not account for her violent tendencies, while others posited that underlying psychological issues may have been exacerbated by external pressures and societal expectations. For the Dawson family, the emotional fallout was profound. Karen and David were left to grapple with feelings of guilt and shame, questioning their parenting choices and wondering if they could have intervened in some way to prevent the tragedy. The psychological toll of Amy's actions manifested in anxiety, depression, and a pervasive sense of loss as they struggled to reconcile their memories of her with the reality of her crimes. The community of Maple Hills also bore lasting scars from the events that unfolded. Trust was eroded, and the sense of safety that once defined the town was replaced by a lingering fear of the unknown. Residents found themselves grappling with the unsettling realization that violence could erupt in their midst, leading to a collective trauma that would take years to heal. The psychological implications of Amy's actions extended far beyond her family, leaving an indelible mark on the community, as both the Dawsons and their neighbors navigated the complexities of grief, fear, and the search for understanding in the wake of unimaginable tragedy. In this video, we explored the harrowing transformation of Amy Dawson from a seemingly normal girl into a mass murderer, a change that sent shockwaves through her family and the community of Maple Hills. We examined the emotional turmoil faced by her parents, Karen and David, as they grappled with the reality of their daughter's actions and the profound impact on their lives. The chilling events surrounding Amy's crimes not only shattered her family but also left lasting scars on the community, altering perceptions of safety and trust. Throughout our discussion, we highlighted the critical importance of recognizing signs of distress in loved ones. Amy's story serves as a poignant reminder that underlying issues can often go unnoticed, and early intervention can be vital in preventing tragic outcomes. By fostering open communication and being attentive to changes in behavior, we can create a supportive environment that encourages those in need to seek help. As we conclude, we encourage you to engage with this content by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and sharing it with others. Raising awareness about mental health issues and the complexities of human behavior is essential in fostering understanding and compassion within our communities. Your support can help spark important conversations and potentially save lives. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to bringing you more thought-provoking content in the future.